What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So the Big 12 Conference Tournament kicks off on Tuesday, and we're here to preview everything, give our predictions for everything all the way up until the Big 12 Championship this upcoming week and weekend, taking place at the T-Mobile Center there in Kansas City. But before we do jump in, if you could, just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more college basketball content on the season. Going to have some previews up on the channel for other conference tournaments as well. Probably already have the Big 10 tournament preview up on the channel. I have the Big 12 one here. We're going to go ACC as well as the SEC as well. Have the couple major conference tournament previews. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. We'll have videos throughout March Madness as well. But let's just jump into the first game starting on Tuesday. 13th seed Baylor versus number 12 seed Arizona State. Now, obviously, some news coming out about Hurley's time at Arizona State. Will that cause any distraction in this one, or maybe will the players kind of come together and play for their coach in Hurley? I'm leaning Arizona State in this one, and I expect Arizona State to get ahead until Wednesday. Next up, 16th seed Utah versus number 9 seed Cincinnati. Interesting matchup here, but I do have Cincinnati moving on to Wednesday's matchup. 15th seed Kansas State versus number 10 seed BYU, which BYU as a 10 seed was talked about throughout the year as a possible top 3 seed in the tournament. And they're the number 10 seed in the Big 12, which is crazy. Obviously AJ Bonza, one of the top 2-3 players in the country. I got BYU winning this game fairly easily. And then the last game for Tuesday, Oklahoma State versus Colorado. I think Colorado moves ahead to Wednesday. Kicking off Wednesday, we have the 12-seeded Arizona State versus number 5 seed Iowa State. Obviously, Iowa State was up there, top 3-4 team in the country most of the year. Suffered a couple of losses there towards the end of the year, but I do think they are still very good, and that just tells you that how good the Big 12 has been this year. I do expect Iowa State to move ahead to Thursday, ending Arizona State's season there. Next up, Cincinnati versus UCF in this one. I think UCF moves on to Thursday's slate. Next up, number 10 seed BYU versus number 7 seed West Virginia. I think Devonza and BYU, they can just get hot at certain times, and I think this week could be one of those. And I do think AJ Devonza, BYU move on again and defeat West Virginia. Next up, we have Colorado versus TCU. I got TCU moving on in this one. Then starting out Thursday's slate, we have Iowa State versus Texas Tech. This is going to be a good, tight matchup, I believe. Maybe the best game of the week up until this point, I believe, probably. But, yeah, this one's really a toss-up. But I think Iowa State, kind of righting, kind of the last couple weeks, the couple losses that they suffered wrong. But they've had some big wins, obviously, this season, too. But I got Iowa State moving on to Friday. Next up, UCF against Arizona. Arizona, if you haven't watched the channel all year, I've been very high on Arizona all year. I do think that they are, for most of the year, they've been my national championship pick. We'll see what their draw is come Selection Sunday here. But I think, they're obviously, without a doubt, one of the top, 3 teams in the country. And I just think they're, roster construction as a whole, what they can do with their guards, what they can do at the wings and down low, is just very impressive. And yeah, I got Arizona winning this one, moving on to Friday. And then last session, should I say, of Thursday, starting with BYU against against Houston. I'm sorry. I just think that BYU can get hot and win 2-3 games in this tournament, and I think this is one that they can win. I obviously think Houston is one of the best defensive teams in the country, but I think BYU has enough to go on a little run here and advance to Friday. And then lastly, TCU against Kansas. Obviously, Kansas kind of hit or miss. Never know about Darren Peterson. What's going on there? Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? I do think Kansas has enough to get past this one. And make it kind of interesting going into Friday's matchups to see who plays, who does not going forward. And then we'll start out Friday's matchups with Iowa State versus Arizona. listen, I talked about how good Arizona was all year, that they were one of my favorite teams to watch all year. They're one of my favorites going into the tournament before we see the bracket. And I think they get it done here against Iowa State to move on to the Big 12 championship. Then the last game here on Friday, BYU versus Kansas. Now, I do think this definitely could be where BYU's Big 12 tournament comes to an end. I do think they'll make some noise in the NCAA tournament, though. But can Kansas? What's Darren Peterson's situation? What everything we've seen some big wins from Kansas this year as well, but also seen some questionable games with obviously being without Darren Peterson or whatnot. I do think BYU's run ends here and Kansas advanced to the Big 12 championship, setting up Arizona versus Kansas. And I just think Arizona is too good in this one. I think Arizona gets it done over Kansas to win the Big 12 championship. So that'll do it for this one. Like I said, we already have the Big 10 tournament preview up on the channel. We're going to go through a couple other tournament championship tournament previews for this week as well. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.